Coming up in this video, I take you to one of Malaysia's hidden gems, the beautiful Cape Rachado. Located just 19 kilometers outside of Port Dickson on Malaysia's west coast, Cape Rachado is easily accessible from Kuala Lumpur, the country's vibrant capital city, or from historic Melaka. That's Cape Rachado on Google Maps satellite view. And that's me in the thumbnail, relaxing in the soothing waters of one of the Cape's many tropical beaches. In a way, it was a typical Planet Doug type of day. Grab drivers ignored me, which left me trudging down a busy highway for 5 kilometers under a hot sun. But that's okay. The 5-kilometer walk gave me time to talk about a naval battle that took place right here over 400 years ago. This battle between 31 ships shaped the course of Malaysian history. Highlights of the day included hiking down jungly trails, checking out a historic lighthouse, and a swim at a stunning tropical beach. I was also stabbed by a tree. Ow, 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 ow. Tripped by a tree. And enthralled by a tree.
Just communing with my buddy, the tree, here for a minute.
So sit back, relax, let me do all the work, and enjoy the video.
All right, here we are, setting off on foot. It's not a big deal because I want to walk anyway. I prefer walking. But, just this one time, I thought, okay, let's take a grab instead. Let's do what everybody always says I should do, and then I can't do it. So I'm walking. I guess it'll take about an hour to get there. It's a bit unfortunate because the morning here tends to be bright and sunny, and then the clouds move in, and I wanted to be at this place during the bright and sunny early morning hours, which is why I was going to take a grab, get there really fast, but now it's going to take me an hour to get there. But life goes on regardless. Yeah, here's the sun. Well, not the sun, but the sunny skies. Look at that. It's beautiful. And I suppose Malaysia is not as suited to this kind of lifestyle as Sumatra was, because if I were in Sumatra, of course, there'd be a becak right here. I just walk out of my guest house and, even if you can't get a grab, you just step outside and there's becak waiting for you. But they don't exist here in Malaysia that I'm aware of. There's the sun just coming up over the horizon. It's not really that early. About 8 o'clock in the morning now. I think sunrise here is at 7:30. Yeah, that's another adjustment for me when I come from Sumatra back to Malaysia, because there's a 1-hour time difference. So when I'm here, the morning seems to stay dark for so long. I keep waiting and waiting and waiting for the sun to come up, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? But of course, sunrise here at 7:30. In Sumatra, the sun has already been up for an hour because it comes up at 6:30. Anyway, yeah, this could be a bit of a trudge.
Trudging, to trudge, the slow, weary, depressing yet determined walk of a man who has nothing left in his life except the impulse to simply soldier on.
It's a very busy road, not a lot of, there'll be things to see, but just a lot of traffic, right? There's a big sign for the PD Ostrich Show Farm. I still haven't gone there. I don't know if I will, but it's just up the road here. I had a chance to go there the other day, but I bailed on it because, to be honest, it didn't seem that interesting overall. But man, they're good at advertising. Their signs are incredible and very enticing and all over the place. So I think they're very good at marketing, those people. I'm still at the beginning of my trudge.
What are you doing? Trudging.
My trudge to where I'm going, by the way, is called Cape Rachado. And Cape Rachado is the main reason I even came to this part of Port Dickson. I wanted to visit this cape because of its history, because of its scenic attractions, and because there's a lighthouse there. So it's a very interesting place to go. So I'm glad I'm finally going there. And if it doesn't work out today, maybe I can try again, go back a second time tomorrow. But anyway, yeah, I'm trudging on my way to Cape Rachado, which I believe is Portuguese for broken cape. It has a local name as well, a Malay name, like Tuan or something. I forget. But anyway, that's where I'm going. And the funny thing is that this busy road that I'm walking along serves as kind of a divide between the haves and the have-nots, because on that side of the road, like over there, that's where all the Port Dickson action is. Those are all, well, maybe those aren't, but anyway, there's a whole bunch of beach resorts. Like the water is over there, so all of the hotels, condos, resorts, everything to do with the beach. I mean, this place calls itself a Laguna condominium resort. That's where you go when you come here for a holiday. And then on the other side of this wide road, this is where all the people live, and that's where my guest house is, which in a way works out better. I like being in amongst the people, because if I were in a resort over there just isn't any normal life over there. It's all resorts, you know, cafes, and everything is very expensive. On this side of the highway, now you get your 99 Speed Mart, your 7-Elevens, your local warungs, you know, local restaurants, things like that. So all normal life is over here. Holiday life is over there. Anyway, that's the road that I'm walking along. I can try to put a vibe out in the universe, sending it to all these drivers coming up behind me, and they see me trudging along. And I'm sending out a signal to them to pull over and say, hey, buddy, buddy, why you trudging? You don't need to trudge. I'll give you a lift. Where are you going? We'll see. But I don't think that'll happen. And I'm still trudging. I'm right across from the Thistle Port Dickson Resort. Again, the haves are over there. Have-nots are over here on this side. And as you walk around, you see a lot of tourist attractions right there. There's the Wellness Adventure Team Park, you know, for four-wheel drive adventures. And you see all these places renting inner tubes for the beach. Everybody comes here for a vacation. Road sign alert. Where are we heading? Ow, gee. I just stepped in another big hole. Can't really read it on the LCD screen. But Pantai means beach, I believe. So there's the Biru Beach, the Cherman Beach, and Dickson Beach. But I don't see anything about Cape Rachado. But I'll check Google Maps, see if I'm at any kind of a turnoff. I don't think so. I don't think I'm anywhere near Cape Rachado yet, but we shall see. Well, it turns out that this is the turnoff, and I thought it might be because I recognize the Cherman Beach. The Pantai Cherman, if that's how it's pronounced, is right beside or part of Cape Rachado. Again, Planet Doug pet peeves. I have a lot of pet peeves when it comes to signs in countries I visit. And I don't know, on a sign like that, I'm just sort of surprised it doesn't say Cape Rachado, turn right, because it is by far, it's the main attraction here. All of those beaches, I mean, they're part of the Cape. You know, everybody coming this direction, we're all going to the Cape. Why not put that on the sign? But who am I to question the sign makers of the world? I'm just trudging along. And here it is, the turnoff. And the Cape is about 2 kilometers down this road, or actually maybe not. It might be a little bit farther ahead. The Laguna, the sunset, Malaysian Peacekeeping Center. I see something, yeah, about an army, but nothing about Cape Rachado. Maybe the actual turnoff is up ahead. Well, thank goodness for Google Maps. I just did a quick check and the turnoff is up ahead and going to the right. And once I get off the highway, maybe I'll talk a little bit about Cape Rachado. I should probably save it for when I actually get there, but hey, I have time to kill as I trudge along. Okay, here's the turnoff, and this is the local name for Cape Rachado that I mentioned, Tanjung Tuan, which kind of puzzles me because as far as I know, Tuan means like sir, like a sign of respect, like you would address someone. Probably can't see it that clearly. Okay, here it is with better lighting. Hutan Rekreasi, which means a forest. So recreational forest, Tanjung Tuan. This way. Just had to climb up quite a bit on the road, so that's why I'm starting to sweat a little bit. So by the time I get to the Cape, I'll have done all my walking already. But that's when the serious walking begins. Well, this Cape, the most famous attraction in there is a lighthouse. And the lighthouse has an interesting history. Its original history is sort of lost. Nobody knows for sure. But when you read up on it, the basic idea is that the first lighthouse that was built on the Cape dates all the way back to the 1500s when the Portuguese were running Melaka. This was all, Portuguese controlled territory. And they built a lighthouse up on a hill here, a rocky outcropping, in order to guide the Portuguese ships, along the Malacca Strait. And then over the centuries, various lighthouses were burned down, destroyed, rebuilt, burned down, destroyed, rebuilt. And I believe the one that's there now, this lighthouse that we're going to see, was built by the British in 1863. And that is the last one that was built, and it's the one that remains today. So yeah, well over 100 years old. Yeah, creeping up on 200 years old in a way. Not too far away from 200. And in terms of the history, a very important naval battle took place right off this cape. And I think you can look it up on Wikipedia, called, the Battle of Cape Rachado. And it was a naval conflict between the Portuguese and the Dutch East India Company. But at that time, the Dutch East India Company had a kind of a loose alliance with the Sultanate of Johor. And I believe the 31 ships were involved in the battle. What a sight that must have been. You can actually read the whole story of the battle on Wikipedia. Just sounds like a crazy thing. It would be, there's a movie there waiting to be made, if you had the technology to actually recreate that naval battle. But yeah, 20 ships on the Portuguese side and 11 ships on the Dutch Johor Sultanate side. And they engaged in this major battle. And during the battle, all these ships got tangled up. So they stood off from each other for like a whole day and just shot cannon at each other. But then there came a turning point in the battle when I can't remember which side was which, but one of the sides turned to, you know, kind of attack head on, and the other ships kind of tried to run away, but they didn't do it fast enough, and they got turned around, and all the ships kind of ran into each other, and they sent grappling hooks over, and they all got tied up. And because of the cannon fire, some of them got set on fire. You know, the ships are burning, and they're tied to other ships, and those ships are desperately trying to cut themselves loose because they don't want the flames to spread from that ship. And I believe in the end, 5 ships went down, something like that. And some of the debris from these ships, they've been recovered. You know, they've gone looking for them, recreating the history of the battle. And you can see, I read that some of the shipwreck is at the museum in Bukit. And that's one of the reasons I went to the tin mining museum in Bukit. I wanted to see the remains of one of these ships, the Nassau. But I never saw it there, so I don't know whether it's really at the museum or not. But anyway, in theory, the Portuguese won the battle because the Dutch kind of retreated, you know, sort of gave up the field of battle, and the Portuguese, you know, were the victors. But both sides sustained such heavy damage. Like the Portuguese, they sustained so much damage that in fact the Dutch and the Johor Sultanate were kind of encouraged that, you know, okay, we sort of lost that battle, but man, it was close, and they came away with a feeling that, well, in the right circumstances and trying again, they could defeat the Portuguese. And in particular, the Johor Sultanate felt encouraged, and they resupplied the Dutch with more men and more money, more weapons, whatever, you know, was involved in their alliance. And then over the next, I don't know how many years, you'll have to look it up to get the exact details, they kept fighting the Portuguese, and eventually, of course, the Dutch, with the help of the Johor Sultanate, defeated the Portuguese, and the Dutch took over Melaka. So that's kind of why I came here. I just wanted to stand up here on this rocky outcropping, look out over the ocean, over the Strait of Malacca, and see, you know, where this battle took place. Because the one thing that I keep thinking about is the men on those ships. Because, of course, modern times, we think nothing of going from Malaysia to Portugal, right? Malaysia to the Netherlands. If I want to go there, I go to KL, hop on a plane, and I fly to Europe. But all the men on these boats were months and months away from their home, living on these ships, you know, way over here. And they're fighting for something, right? But what in the world are they fighting for, they must wonder, so far away from home? And you think of all those hundreds of men, probably thousands of them, on these ships, engaging in this battle out here, you know, back in the 1600s, I think it was. And what must it have been like for them, you know, just as normal people, that feeling of being so far from home, and then inside this naval battle, and suddenly your boat, your ship is on fire and is sinking, right? What a crazy thing. Anyway, I took a little bit of a right turn here just to come down to the water. There's a fancy set of like condominiums here, you know, resorts, hotels, beach houses, and yeah, white sandy beach right here. And you can see a whole bunch of boats out there in the water. So I'm assuming there's snorkeling going on. Yeah, I don't know what the attraction is here, but I came down here not for the snorkeling, but to get a look at the Cape. So there it is. Well, we're sort of on the Cape already, but there is the, and that's, I believe that's where we're going first over here. There's a lookout point on the other side of this hill, and then there's Monkey Beach around the corner. So we're heading into the park, following some trails, and that's where we're going. So, and the lighthouse, I think, or the lookout point is at about 232 meters above sea level. So there's a little bit of climbing to get up there, not very much. But yeah, look at this beach. That's a lot nicer than I expected in terms of the sand. It's beautiful. So this is the official entrance to the park. And you can see there's a lot of people here who are already done their walks. There's all these people getting back in their cars because they came out here so early to get a hike in while it was still cool. And they're all heading home already, just as I'm arriving. And here's a history of the Cape. I'm going to read through that before I go in. Starting at the top, Tanjung Tuan, or Cape Rachado, as named by the Portuguese, is an exclave of the state of Melaka. It is the cape with a lighthouse facing the Straits of Malacca. The coastal area off the cape is famous as the naval battle site of Cape Rachado in 1606. So that's when the battle took place. After Portugal conquered Malacca in 1511, the Portuguese wanted to build a lighthouse to guide its ships. The cape was chosen and it was named Cape Rachado by them. Subsequently, a lighthouse was built between 1528 and 1529. As Malacca switched hands to the Dutch and later to the British in 1641 and 1824 respectively, so too did the possession of the structure. And if I may interject, I think the lighthouse that's here now was built by the British in 1863, so 100 years before I was born. In 1921, the area was gazetted as a permanent forest reserve with an area of 80.97 hectares. And in 1971, another 60.7 hectares was added. And I guess it's a very popular site for bird watching because it is a stopover point for thousands of migratory birds, especially the honey buzzard. Other birds that stop here during their annual winter migration include swifts, hawks, and eagles, which can be spotted between September and March every year. But before I go in, I'm going to insert a little bit of a experimental Planet Doug video here, just to give some context for where I am and where I think I'm going to go. So I'm going to call this segment the Blue Dot. So enjoy the blue dot and then come back here and then we'll head into the park.
Welcome to the Blue Dot segment. And I called it the Blue Dot segment, of course, because normally on Google Maps, you will get a blue dot showing where you are. So that would be my starting point for this morning's hike. Unfortunately, I didn't record this segment when I was there, so I no longer have a blue dot over top of my hostel, you know, the SPD Backpackers where I was staying. But I'm still going to use the name the Blue Dot, because normally there would be a blue dot right here. This time I just placed a Google Maps pin here at the SPD Backpackers where I was staying. And where I walked to was here. So this peninsula here, this is the Cape Rachado, or in Malaysian they call it the Tanjung Tuan Recreational Forest. And I can show you the walking route that I followed. Click on Directions, SPD Backpackers, my starting point, and I should be able to call up the gates to the Tanjung Tuan Recreational Forest. And there is the walk that I took. Of course, it would have been nice to walk along the ocean, find a small road that follows the coastline, but because of the geography here, that wasn't possible. This whole area alongside the ocean is filled with resorts and hotels and condominium complexes, and it wouldn't be possible to walk along the coast. So I had no choice but to follow the main road here, and this is where I turned off the main road onto the smaller one, and then it went another, I don't know, 1-2 kilometers down to the gate into the recreational forest. And if we look over here, it gives the distance as 4.5 kilometers and a walking time of 1 hour and 2 minutes. I don't know how long it took me to do that, but it was probably, that's probably in the ballpark. And just to give a little bit more context, if we zoom out, we can see where we are in terms of Malaysia in general. Here's Singapore down here, of course, the island of Sumatra across the Malacca Strait, Kuala Lumpur right here, and Port Dickson itself is on the coast here, and then where I am is right here. So let's zoom in on the Cape, take a closer look at it, and it is now an official park. So in fact, there is a gated entrance here, as you saw, and then there are no motorcycles or cars or anything like that allowed inside the Cape. And as we go around the coast here, we can see that there is the Monkey Bay, the Bukit Batu Putih, which is a lookout point, the Cape Rachado Lighthouse, which is the main attraction. There's a cave below the lighthouse, and I believe there's a trail that you can follow. It takes you down from the lighthouse to the cave, and another scenic coast here with a trail that goes down to it. I believe this is an old well, like the remnants of an old well, a bit of a historic site. And I think if you zoom in more and more, you might see more sites of interest here. And let's click on a satellite view just to get a slightly better idea. So as you can see, it is heavily forested, and that was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't realize that it was quite as wild and forested as this. And then here is the main road that goes from the park entrance directly to the lighthouse. And as I quickly discovered, that road is a very well-maintained paved road, but then as soon as you leave it, you are hiking along very beautiful natural dirt trails leading to all of the various places around the Cape. So there it is. That is Cape Rachado, and where we pick up my story, we're going to go right back to here where the entrance is, and there's the fancy Villa Port Dickson Hotel. So let's go back there and rejoin me on my hike.
All right, so hopefully the blue dot segment explained everything about this place. And now it's just a matter of me going in and figuring it out. Where to go, how to get there. So far there's no registration point. I thought there'd be an office, where I'd have to sign in, but I don't see anything like that so far. I was expecting something bigger, but I did find this small map. And the basic idea, I'm not quite sure. I'm just going to start walking, and then whenever I see a trail heading somewhere, I'll follow it. But my plan is to go to Monkey Beach and the lookout point first, and then go to the lighthouse, and then perhaps down here, and then work my way back out again. But I want to go to the lookout point perhaps first, and then Monkey Beach, and then the lighthouse. But I'm not sure exactly how the trails connect and what the right way is to go. We'll find out shortly. This main road climbing up into the Cape, a lot steeper than I expected. You're going up and up, straight up. You need some muscle power. I notice a lot of people are, here for exercise. They're in their full sweats and they're running up and down. All right, we're starting to see some signs. This is Monkey Bay. That's the beach. And this is the lookout point, Bukit Batu Putih, which I think is something like White Rock Lookout Point or White Rock Hill. And up we go. So there's the trail heading down to Monkey Bay. No, I'm going to the lookout point first, I think. And it looks like the rain has carved a trench there, and you need the rope to hold on to. 2 ropes. So this goes down to Monkey Bay and Pulau Intan. I think you can go to the lookout point first. That's what I want to do. And of course, they haven't managed to keep up with the Chinese New Year debris yet. I assume this will all be cleaned out once the holidays are over. Yeah, if there's somewhere high up, I always want to go there first. Kind of get perspective, get the lay of the land. And if I go all the way down to Monkey Beach, that means I just climb all the way back up again to the lookout point. So I want to go to the lookout point first, if possible. We'll see if that's a possibility. It is one of these places where I have to remind myself to look up, because you do tend to get focused on the ground, looking ahead of you, and most of the action is up there, the tree canopy up above you. But I'm not an experienced bird watcher by any means. Those trees could be filled with rare birds. I would never see them, but it does look very nice to look up. A lot of vines, jungle vines too. Got a couple up there ahead of me on the road. Of course, I can't help, every time I see jungle vines like this, all I think about is Tarzan, of course, the old character, and the cartoons and the TV shows. And when you see the vines in the jungle, of course, you can't help but think you can swing on those vines, which is where the legend of Tarzan came from. And of course, you see orangutan and animals like that swinging on vines, but it doesn't really work for a human. You can grab one of these vines, but you're not exactly going to be swinging from tree to tree. It doesn't really work in the real world, but it's nice to think that it would. And speaking of monkeys, we have some macaques up there. And interestingly, they're not climbing along the vines, they're climbing along the electrical wires. So in fact, human-made electrical wires are more useful to them than the actual jungle vines. And there's one of the bigger ones making his way along. Amazing balance. I think we're coming up on the trail that goes up to the lookout point. Actually, from here you can go to the lookout point and to Monkey Bay, it looks like. Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. And that's probably, that's the lighthouse already, right over there. Ah, I thought it was much farther away. So that's the park with the lighthouse. And over here, Monkey Bay and Bukit, Batu, Putih. You can get a separate gate welcoming you to Bukit, Batu, Putih. Yeah, I might hit Monkey Bay on my way out. That'll be like the last place I visit, I think. All right. So we're leaving the tarmac behind, and we're on a dirt trail. That's really nice. And I think at the very end of this trail, there's a bit of cliff. You have to scramble up the cliff, and they have some rope there for you as well. Check this out. Serious rope. This stuff isn't cheap. But I don't know, it sort of feels like a volunteer put this rope here. I don't know. It doesn't look like something that would have been built officially, by the park. Somebody just saw that they could use rope assistance here, and I think they put it in place. Maybe one of the hiking clubs. Just seems like if this was a government project as part of the official park, it would just be more secure, more built up, more engineered than just, like this. just wrapping a rope around a tree and hoping it stays up. But hey, very kind of someone to do that. Spend their own money on a rope and then put it in place. Yeah, this is one long, continuous piece of rope. Thick stuff, you know. And we're just coming up on a lookout point. There's a platform here. Look out over the Strait of Melaka. I don't know how much of the Cape we'll be able to see. Like, will we be able to look down on the beaches or anything like that? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think we just look out over the water. So look at that. They even have glass and signs saying don't lean against the railing, and if you want to walk out there, take off your shoes. There we go. Yeah, look at that, how steep that is. Probably can't see it on the GoPro, but we were looking straight down just about. And somewhere out there, the site of the battle of Cape Rachado. The broken cape. Oh, look at that. I always get a kick out of these, telling you how far it is. And these have a very local flavor, pointing to, you know, Yemen, Indonesia, Palestine, Brunei, Kuala Lumpur, Masjid Al-Aqsa. So yeah, very oriented to the Islamic world. I'm used to these pointing to places like, you know, Paris and New York and Tokyo, things like that. But they've given it their own flavor. Planet Doug approved. So yeah, I guess the rocky outcropping, the actual lookout point, is over there behind those trees. It's interesting that they would spend the money to put a glass, kind of a glass bridge here. Interesting cultural note of all the people that came and went while I was there and that are there now. I'm the only one that actually took off my shoes. They're all local. I think they're Malaysians. But yeah, they read the sign and just went, whatever. And they all left their shoes on. I guess we Canadians, I think we are known as rule followers. We don't want to cause trouble. So we follow the rules. There's nothing particularly challenging or difficult about these trails, but, you know, it does look like this, so you do have to be careful. If you are unsteady on your feet, some of these rocks and roots might trip you up, and if it had been raining recently, you know, this might be a little bit slippery. Just something to be aware of. If anyone ever comes out here, basically anybody could hike this trail, regardless of your fitness level. But at the same time, anybody could trip on one of these vines and rocks if you're not paying attention. But yeah, it's a nice, well-maintained trail.
Tidak boleh jadi penunjuk arah, aduh.
And I guess you come across sections like this, where the tree that fell over is too big to move. And they just leave it there. And somebody built a step to help people get over. And I think this is the beginning. Oh yeah, there's the lookout point up there. Ah. So this is the section that I mentioned. You have to climb up these rocks while using that rope. Though there does seem to be a section of trail over here as well, but it dead ends. Oh, okay, this is the trail that goes down to Monkey Beach. Yeah, you can see that this little climb here, it's no joke. I can see a lot of people looking at that and deciding, probably wisely, not to do it, but hey, I've got a young girl and her mother doing it, so anybody can do it, but if it makes you nervous, I wouldn't do it. Very steep. And you're putting your faith in a rope that's been there for who knows how long. Well, my turn next. So I'm at the top. I'm at the lookout point. You can see it around me. As I said, I think the name translates as something like White Rock Hill. And there's an obvious reason for that. The whole top of it is made of these white rocks. It's quite beautiful up here. So the view is very much worth the effort of coming here. Yeah, very, very nice. And to get up here, I had to climb up that short rock face. And I made this big deal out of it where I put this GoPro away. I turned on my chest. I was going to use just my GoPro on my chest harness. Made a big cinematic experience out of it. Filmed the entire climb. Talked about it. The view was revealed when I got to the top. It was so amazing. But you will never see it because I forgot to hit the record button. So that was pretty funny. Yeah, it happens more often than you'd think. I mean, how hard is it to hit the record button? But you get so involved in so many things, you just forget. But yeah, here I am at the top. Nice and cool up here. You've got a nice breeze. And there's the view off in that direction. Port Dickson and the refineries and the shipping, all that is over there. And the Cape. And that's probably where the Battle of Cape Rachado took place, somewhere out in that water. All right, let's try to head down. And this time I have the chest harness GoPro operating. And of course, going down, you go down backwards. And in some ways, it's easier than going up. The only reason this is challenging for me is that I have my other GoPro hooked into my pocket. So it's actually dangling from my pants, and I don't want it to hit the rocks and scratch the lens. And there's the view up the cliff. There we are on at the bottom. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overstate it. You know, it's not like I just went up and down K2, but that little rock face there, you know, no joke. A lot of people that are up there taking the selfies right now based on their age. And I can tell, just from their physical condition, I'm kind of impressed, that they took the risk and actually climbed up there. But they were all wearing running shoes, not sandals. That is the trail that goes to the lookout point and then on to Monkey Bay, the entrance. And then right here is the lighthouse. As I said, 1863 that was built. And I believe it's still operational today, though I'm not positive about that. But beside the lighthouse, you can see that satellite contraption beside it. So there's a cement tower there, and that's a newer thing, of course, and it's what they call a MEASAT, MEASAT. It's a Malaysian company. I think it stands for Malaysian East Asian Satellite, and they offer like satellite communication networks to companies around the world. I think they have 6 satellites in orbit and 150 of these installations all around the world, something like that. So it's a pretty big deal, that MEASAT that you see up there. That's very cool too. So let's walk up there and take a closer look. Yeah, interestingly, the stairs bring you up to here, and then you are right at the base of the lighthouse. And of course, this is, you can't go into the lighthouse. And that's also where the MEASAT satellite complex is. So authorized personnel only to go up there. But the stairs give you a nice view right here. And then you can walk around the outside of the lighthouse, yeah, along this trail. Interesting to see, the old and the new side by side like that. It's actually very cool. A machine communicating with satellites in orbit, and a machine communicating with ships on land with a big light bulb, basically. Yeah, very different technologies at work. This is very cool. There's the lighthouse and the satellite, or the satellite communications tower, the MEASAT, and the trail goes all the way around the edge. So you get, fantastic view all the way around, even though you can't get over the fence, of course. Ooh. Yeah, no complaints about the sun. I was saying that I missed out on the sunshine, but I didn't. I'm getting a lot of sun. There it is there. Can't even look at it. Yeah, maybe the sun is getting its revenge, because I was saying, it's going to be cloudy. I'm not going to see the sun today. So they said, okay. You want sun? We'll get you some sun. You want to be out there trudging? Sun is on its way, and it's been beating down for a long time. And there's the last view of the lighthouse and the Misat Tower. Very cool. Yeah, you can go all the way around it. Very steep drop off over here. Look at that. Goes straight down. The palm trees all around the edge. Very exotic. Just imagine that there's been some kind of a lighthouse here since the 1500s. All that history. The Melaka Sultanate, Portuguese, the Dutch, the British, Johor Sultanate, all these people fighting over this land and this, the Malacca Strait trade route, all that fighting. And this piece of land with the lighthouse, yeah, would have changed hands many times over those centuries. Different countries taking control of it. So I decided to take the main road back to Monkey Bay rather than taking the trail. And it's taking me by some very impressive trees. These trees might be one of my favorite parts about this park. And you don't really, hello. You don't really notice them until you stop and look up. And then you get a sense for just how big and therefore how old they must be. Of course, being a Canadian, I'm no stranger to giant trees, trees that are much bigger than this one. But still, these are very impressive trees. Look at that. I don't think I'm going to do very much talking going down and up the trail. Something weird has happened with my nasal passages. I don't know if you can hear it. It's almost like I've been scuba diving. Everything is blocked. So I've got all the nasal passages between my ear canals and my nose. It's all been sealed. And it feels like I'm 1,000 meters underwater. And I can't break it. I can't pop my ears. But despite all that, I'm going to go down this trail. And yeah, someone put a rope here. But you can see the rain has cut a trench. So let's make my way down here. Take a look at this bay. And this will be my last place to visit in Cape Rachado recreational forest. There you go. They had 2 ropes there, and I used both ropes and went down backwards. I rappelled. Yeah, I think this is the normal way to go. So come up from the gates, go down to Monkey Bay, and then from the Monkey Bay you can take another trail up to that white rocky lookout point, and then from there you go to the lighthouse. But I wanted to go to the lighthouse first and save Monkey Bay for last. So I guess I'll be going down this trail and then just back up the same trail. I don't think I'm going to hike up the trail to the lookout point again. Yeah, ow, 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 ow. Oh man, oh man. Oh. I grabbed this thing for support. And this tree has evolved defenses. Look at those spikes. Ay, ay, ay. Yikes. It's just lined with small needles to prevent primates like me from grabbing hold of it, I guess. Oh, it looks like we're already down at sea level. I thought there was going to be a big cliff at the end and we had to climb down the cliff. But the trail flattens out and just gradually descends to the edge of the water. Very nice. Ah. Nice breeze coming off the Melaka Strait. All right. Off come the sandals and soak my feet, cool them off. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, look at this. Gorgeous beach. Very secluded. There's the lookout point up there. You can just see the edges of the rocky cliff. And then the beach just goes off in this direction a short distance. A couple of young couples over there settle down on the beach. So there you go. Monkey Bay. Yeah, glad I came down here. This is very, very nice. I may not walk in that direction. There's enough beach for me right here. And I don't want to disturb those couples, leave them their privacy. I want to walk up on them with a video camera. But yeah, look at this. I've got this spot right here where I can relax for a minute. It's probably the best spot on the whole beach. Ah, nice. Nice, 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 nice. Beautiful spot. Because there's the view from right where I'm sitting. Paradise. This tree provides a perfect hideaway. So here's my secret hideaway. This was the GoPro that I was using to film when I went out into the water, but this one is not waterproof because it has all the microphone attachments, you know. So I've got my other GoPro. I'm not really going to take it underwater, I don't think. I don't really want to risk that, but I can take it into the water more safely than the other one. It stays shallow for a long time. Sandy for the most part. It's kind of ironic that I managed to trip over the one rock in the entire beach, because all out here it's all just smooth sand. And I've gone out, you know, this far from the shore and the water has just reached my waist right now, so it's not deep at all. And there's the rest of the beach. But yeah, right over there, that's what I wanted to get a bit of a angle on, is that lookout point. So you could walk up there from Monkey Beach, or Monkey Bay they call it, or you can walk along the road, go to the lookout point, and then follow the trail down here to Monkey Bay. But yeah, it's very nice. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised. Blown away, you might say. I was not expecting to find a beach this nice at all. I mean, this is a little treasure. It really is a little treasure. To have a beautiful beach like this with shade trees like that everywhere along the edge, I mean, how rare is that? This is a very special kind of beach. Right over there, you got all those trees that have fallen over. People can sit on those, sit around them. You got some kids there making sand castles. Beautiful soft sand. And me. Yeah, my ears cleared. I've cleared the passages for some reason. Mouthful of salt water. Oh, this is so nice. You can just feel whatever, if you're feeling any stress, anything at all, the ocean just sucks it away. It really does. It's like a human make you feel better machine, you know, the ocean. This is wonderful out here. But anyway, that's all the video I wanted to record out here. This is so nice. All right, gonna relax for a while longer, cool down in the ocean water, or the Melaka Strait water. Keep saying that wrong. But come on, it looks like the ocean, right? I mean, tell me that's not the ocean out there. Well, I wouldn't put a lot of faith in the ropes on this swing or in the piece of wood itself, but it's a very inviting place to end the video, I think. Of course, I still have to walk back to Port Dickson, basically. Walk back to my guest house, have lunch. There's actually a lunch place a few kilometers beyond my guest house. I'd like to go there for lunch, but I don't know if I have the energy to go that far, to be honest. Maybe the bus is calling out to me. But anyway, we'll see. But I still have to walk back to my guest house. And I could keep shooting video along the way, but I don't think I will. I think this is the perfect spot to end the video. Little Instagram swing that they built here. I've got my whole body poised in case the rope breaks. You know, I'm ready to land on my feet like a cat. But for now, I think I'm okay. Feels solid enough. So from Cape Rachado in Port Dickson, yeah, Planet Doug approved, especially if you end your visit here. I chose wisely. Normally I do not, but this time to see everything and then go to Monkey Bay, that is the way to do it, and that is the way I did it. Beautiful, really nice day. So, shutting down, and I'll see you in the next video. But two things that I was talking about as I was climbing up this cliff is that I think my hardcore belief in sandals might be a bit misguided, because on this hike today, 3 times that I can remember, I've already tripped because of my sandals, and I've nearly fallen, flat on my face on the rocks. So I really could have injured myself badly, smashed another camera, because I insist on wearing sandals all the time. And the thing is, they work when you first buy them, but over time, what I've noticed is that as they get older, the sole flattens out and they stretch and become longer. So check this out. So that's what my sandals look like now. And the sole has flattened and now sticks about 1.5 inches ahead of my toes. So when I step over barriers, like I step over a rock, my brain automatically calculates the clearance for my toes. But my brain doesn't know about this part. And I keep catching this on the rocks, and then I nearly fall over. And as I talked about in the past, that's how I fell in the Philippines. Landed right on my face, cut open my chin, and I smashed my camera and my lens. I lost like a $800-900 lens because of that. So yeah. I really need to get smarter somehow. You don't go hiking in sandals unless they're brand new, or somehow you gotta fix this. Anyway, this is too dangerous. But at the same time, what are you going to do? My backpack is heavy enough. I don't want to throw a pair of running shoes or hiking boots into my backpack because I wear sandals 99% of the time. I only need shoes when I go hiking like this, on a relatively dangerous trail. But anyway, because yeah, I'm actually a bit nervous, if you walk around on here in my sandals as they are now, I could very easily trip and fall. There goes a tour boat with pulling a banana boat. Logistics note, there are public bathrooms here. I just used one of them, and it is a kind of a national or state park, whatever you want to call it. So the bathrooms are pretty much what you'd expect. They do work. If you absolutely need one, well, they have one, but you definitely don't want to spend a lot of time in there, and you do not want to breathe through your nose. It's mouth breathing the whole time. But yeah, they're there if you need them.